In this video, I would like to show the use of using the mandrel that has pins in it. When I first did a video, I had somebody ask me if I would demonstrate that, and I told them, I says, I don't ever use mandrels with pins in it. But then I got the book, Globe Knot Cookbook, and it came with these two mandrels, and I've been tying some of the knots out of there, and the grandkids thought that was pretty neat, and they've asked if they could tie some, so they were using them, and I could see the advantage of somebody that didn't know how to hold the strings, that using these mandrels was a big help. So I want to demonstrate how to do that. So I bought this mandrel from Jig Pro Shop. It's the Hubbard Perfect mandrel, but there wasn't a lot of directions to it, and I wanted to show how I set up where my pins would align up with each other from right to left. And in doing that, I drew these marks on the mandrel, and I want to show you how I come up with that angle. And what you do is take a piece of paper. A whip maker showed me this. If you'll take a piece of paper and fold it to get the circumference of what you're braiding on, which would be right there. Then you take that's the circumference of this mandrel. I fold my paper, my mark, and I get half the circumference. And fold it the other way so tear better. Okay, that's half the circumference of the mandrel. So I just lay it up here at the top corner, and you wrap it around so that the paper lays side by side all the way down your mandrel. You do a little twist there. And if you will notice, on tubes like a toilet paper tube, paper towel tube, this is out of a piece of tape. See that seam? I don't know if you can see it. The seam right here where that tube was put together, that is half the distance of the circumference. And that is the perfect angle for that to lay flat and come together. So I marked that going both directions. And that is how I come up with those lines. Now that I've got that marked, I don't ever have to do that again. That's just the initial setup. And I'll show you more after we number the pins of how to use that line. But I wanted that line on there to get the proper angle of my knot. Okay, this mandrel comes with these collars. This side has got 12, and this is the smallest one. This is the 3/4, and they've got them bigger. But this inside circle has 12 holes, so I just went every other one, which give me 6 pins, evenly spaced. On the outside, there's 15 holes. So if you skipped one, or skip 2 and put a pin, skip 2, put a pin, you'd have 5 evenly spaced pins, or you could do any other combination. Now with parachute cord, if you put them every hole, you'd be quite close together that you'd see. But anyway, I want to show you how to number the pins so you know which pin you go from left to right. On the left hand side is the odd number of pins representing the half cycles. On the right hand side is the even number of pins representing the even half cycles. And in doing that, I take a piece of tape and I just lay it on that collar and roll it around there like that, so I have a place to write the pin number. On this side, I'll just put it up next to my pin, and I leave that pin in to tie my standing end to. Okay, so if I'm tying my standing end there, this would be the number 1 pin. Now the first pin I'd come to on the other side would be my number 2 pin. Now, how do I know where my number 3 pin is going to be? If we did the formula that I shown for doing an algorithm diagram, where you have parts divided by bytes gives you an n value plus the remainder of r. You have parts divided by bytes, n plus r. Let's just do a 13 part 6 byte over 1 under 1 Casa knot or Turk's head knot. 6 will go into 13 2 times, and you have a remainder of 1. Now, if it is a 1, that is the enlargement process number 1. If the R is 1 less than the number of bytes, it's an enlargement process number 2. But okay, since this R value is a 1, we count 1, and that is our next odd pin. So we go 1, that'll be a 3. We go 1 more, that'd be a 5. We go 1 more, it's a 7. We go 1 more, and it's a 9. We go 1 more, and it's an 11. On this side, it's 2. We go 1, it's a 4. Then a 6. Then an 8. Then a 10. Then a 12. And that represents the half cycles in our knot. If this was an 11/6, this number would be a 5, and you'd go from 1 and you'd count 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be our number 3 pin. And then you count 5 more, and that'd be the number 5 pin, and you go 5 more, and that's the way you do it. Okay, now let's tie this knot. So I get my string, and I'll just tie me a overhand knot and put it over that pin, tighten her down. That's our number 1 pin. So I start following my line. And another thing with this formula, the n value is going to be the number of crossings you do on the second half cycle. So that would be a crossing, and that would be a crossing. So there's 1 there and 1 there, and we go around our number 2 pin. Okay, now this is going to be our number 3. So we're going to go around this strand twice. We're going to go over it 2 times and around this pin. So we want to rotate this so that we stay at the proper angle right there till we get to our 3. So we're out in the middle of these 2 lines, but that's giving us the proper angle to come to 3. And this one we want on that line. So it's on that line to 3 or to 2, and then we're going to stay our proper angle between here and here, keeping that straight, keeping it straight. There we go. That's about where we need to be. And we crossed over our standing part twice. 1, 2. We turn, and now we're going to go to our pin number 4. We're going to go over 2. Now, since this is enlargement process number 1, all we're doing is building the pattern. See how our pattern is over under already? So that one's going over, so we go under. And we tie our knot. And I've left this one loose. I've got this one tightened up so it doesn't slide. But this one you can adjust, but it's as you tie. But see, when you're doing by building, how this strand is going to lay right alongside of that one. So it doesn't have to move. This is over, so we go under. And then we go out over. Let me move this so I'm not tangled up all the time. Okay, I go to 5. So we're on the half cycle number 5. We're doing the opposite, building our pattern, keeping our strings right alongside of each other. That's over, we go under. So it's under, over, under, over. And we go to 6. We turn the corner, doing the opposite, over, under, over, under, oh, over, over, under, over. Go round 7. Oh, we got us a hooey here. There. That's why I don't use pins, as I'm always snagging one. Now we're half cycle 7. Doing the opposite. Over, under. It's an over. That's an over. And we go out over. Just keep them hanging up. We go around number 8. We're doing the opposite of this string. Under, over, under, over, under. Let's pull some slack here. Stay right next to this string. We're doing the opposite of this, so it's over. This one right here, so we're going over, under, over. We turn around number 9. That's over, so we go under, over, under, over. It's over, so we go under, over, under, over. Okay, going around 10. And see our line under there? We're going to follow that line. See, I've let this slip just a little bit. So I want to stay on this side of that line to make everything even. So turn the corner, over, under, over, under. Now we got 2 under, so we go over 2, under, over, under, over. You see my line right there? So we're staying even. That's making our knot straight. We go around pin number 11. I gotta separate these because I see that line. I want that on that. Following that line, and we're gonna go right up through the center. Okay, around the pin, over, under, and there's an over and an over, so we're going over 2. Catch that under, over, under, over. Now, there's our pin number 12. We go around it. And we're doing the opposite, so that's over, so we're going under, over, under, over, under. And things are tightening up, so I better pull the slack here. Uh-oh, we got us a knot. So I gotta back up. We can't leave a knot in the string. Okay, around 12, under, over, under, over, under, pull the slack out. Twist out of my string. Okay. We're going over, under, over, under, over, under, and out over. And we're back to the number 1. And if you look down this, see how we stayed straight? That was because of our string, and you can see how we lined up our pins. And that is how you would tie this using the building the pattern method in enlargement process number 1. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.